spooky. We're very late for Halloween. Robot lady, sound the alarm!
Warning. The following podcast is another wasted hour. Warning. The following podcast is another wasted hour.
Don't waste my motherfucking time!
Yet another week where we are not topical because we're 2 weeks behind everything that happens in the real world. Welcome to another wasted hour, everyone. I'm Keith. There's Adam over there. He's doing very well. We are the people that will be replacing the next hour of your life with, well, we're the two ignorant, uninformed, ill-advised, self-deprecating morons ranting about opinions we have no right to have, which are probably wrong and absolutely do not matter. You knew that already. You also knew that our goal here at Another Wasted Hour is to convince you that where we hail from, just outside Washington, D.C., is not just a city of politics and scandals, but one brimming with art, music, and culture. As impossible as that may seem. So listeners, now that you know why you're here, like a late night infomercial, we have Phil Selz.
Hey.
Woo! Yeah.
Great to be here.
This is great because a lot of people, when they make music, you're a musician. We have you on the show here for that reason. A lot of people, when their domain is not available, right, they'll have to append something to the end of it. So it'll be like something band, right? Or something music. And yours is perfect because yours says Phil Selz music.
Yes.
Right?
I keep it very clean and easy.
It's exactly what you do. It works in many different layers, which I like.
I used to have an apostrophe after the Z because that's more grammatically correct. But a friend of mine pointed out that people could never remember to put the apostrophe in, so I took it out.
They'd be like, Phil Selz's. Phil's too many Z's. There's way too many Z's in that. There's just one Z. So you are here because you've got a big show coming up Sunday, November 18th at Paradise Springs in Clifton, Virginia. That's a winery you were saying.
Yes.
Have you been there before?
Yeah, I've played there probably about 8 or 10 times, maybe a dozen times.
Most important question. We already know you're very talented. You play music professionally.
Yes.
Is the wine any good?
Oh, yeah, actually it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what we need to know.
The people go there for the wine, and I happen to be there.
The entertainment's going to be awesome. We know that. But if you're not sure of it, listening to this podcast, if you want to hear Phil's music, you can fast forward right now to the 1 hour mark of this podcast because he's brought a world premiere. No, Adam? Okay, fine.
No, you still haven't paid me. Still waiting on that check.
The world premiere of a tune that you've written. This is an original piece called Flannel, Sheets, and Whiskey.
Yes.
And we're going to play a little of that later in the show. Or again, fast forward to the 1 hour mark of this show, and you can listen to it and come back and join us. If people want to hear more of your music or find out about more shows that are coming up, they can go to www.reverbnation.com/Phil Selz.
Correct. PHILSELZ. No, not music. Music is on Facebook.
Right. Phil Selz music.
Yes.
Even though there's no music. There's no music for you to sell, Phil. So awesome. So how many originals do you have up there at this point?
Oh, a couple dozen.
Nice.
Maybe 25 or 30.
And this tune, although it had never been released before, you're hoping to group this with some other songs maybe next year and release that as an album or sometime like that? All right.
Yeah, I do have one album up on iTunes.
Great.
And this will be part of a second album.
So people can just search Phil Selz up on anywhere. And then you do
CD Baby and iTunes, and I think Amazon Music has it.
And I assume people can pay for it because you...
Yeah, 99 cents a track, I think.
Phil Selz music.
Yes.
Makes sense.
He picked up on it.
Yeah. All right. So that's great. So thank you for joining us. Hopefully you'll have no regrets when you leave. But you now get to be officially a part of the show. You're, a naturalized citizen here of Another Wasted Hour. Speaking of which, what's that?
I was about to say, I missed the pre-production talk for this episode, but I think I see where you're going with this.
Yeah, there's a segue here. So we just had Halloween, which was great. There's haunted houses and ghosts and other scary things. President Trump had his own trick-or-treat that he did. And so he decided to let everyone know, which is just here's the thing. Like, I love President Trump because there's reckless abandon. That's just amazing because he just says, I'm going to change the Constitution as president, like as if it's like king or czar that he is. Like I've decided things and they're gonna happen. And man, there's just a boyhood fantasy about presidency in his head still, I think.
Yes.
Like he doesn't quite understand exactly what the role is, but he's like, this is cool. I'm gonna make a castle. I'm gonna make a president castle. And you're like,
Yep.
That's not how that works. He's like, I got it. We're gonna put
That'd
him
be so much better than what's actually going on.
right. So he's
Actually, we could let him build the walls of his castle.
right. He's
Yeah.
making a moat. That's he. But yeah, he was quoted as saying, "They are saying I can do it with just an executive order," which we're wondering who they are. But I assume that is
Yeah,
us.
who's they?
That's us.
The
Another
they is
wasted hour.
always his Jared and the rest of his.
Yeah. No, so we wanted to
Cabal.
just we're
Yes,
putting a
that's a
message
good word for
message out to Donald Trump. We agree as scholars and them, right? We have decided, yes, you can absolutely do this. Give that a shot. That sounds hilarious. So
Castle.
I encourage this. Just stand on the bully pulpit and let people know that I'm changing the rules because that's awesome. I don't think it's going to do anything, but I really would like to see that pronouncement where he takes an old scroll and just like opens it up and goes, I've made a new constitution, and it's in crayon. And
We could just put Sarah Sanders in a jester suit.
yeah. So what he's decided is that he wants to get rid of birthright citizenship. For those people that don't know, that means if you're born in the United States, you would no longer necessarily be a U.S. citizen, which seems weird because that seems pretty straightforward. Like if you're born in a place, like that's how it started, right? Like when we started the United States, it wasn't like there were people born to U.S. citizens. We made the United States and we went, everyone, you're all in now. And then they're like, what about this guy? He was just born. Yeah, he's in too. That's everybody who's here. You're good. And so now we're like, everybody that's here. Oh no, I'm sorry. No, we've changed that. You are not. You're not here enough. And so, but it's really interesting. I don't know if you've researched the 14th Amendment at all, because I wanted to learn more about it, like see what all this meant. Because like, I know there's amendments and I know there's a constitution and I know that I'm supposed to know what those things are, but a lot of them are past me. I know there's like a no drinking one and then we can drink again one, right? I know we can really have guns. That's a big one everybody talks about. We're definitely allowed to talk about guns. I know that as well. We're allowed to have a press and a religion. Then it gets a little hazy a little further on. We don't have to
and
quarter
I'm not so
troops.
sure he's keen on that. Let's have a press thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, that one's been a little bit of a sticking point.
I've noticed though there's an interesting thing. So I looked it up on terms of citizenship. So there's basically, if I've got this right, there's basically 3 ways you can become a citizen, right? As it stands right now, not until like before the waving of the magic wand. That, by the way, Trump, you have to wave a magic wand. That's another thing. I just need to pass that.
But one from the dollar store.
They are telling you that there has to be a magic wand involved. So you have to either be born in the United States currently, right? That magically may change. You have to be born to U.S. citizens, or you have to be a naturalized citizen, right? You have to go through the process of becoming a citizen, right? Am I missing any? I think that's it.
There's also if you're born on U.S. property overseas.
Oh yeah, I think that's
because my mom was born on an army base in Japan,
Right.
And that same thing was true with McCain.
Right.
He was born in the Panama zone.
yeah, exactly. So, so those are the 3, right? But we do know he doesn't want people born in the United States to be U.S. citizens, right? That did not be a thing. We know that even though Obama was born to an American citizen, he didn't really think Obama was an American citizen. So 2 out of the 3, he's a little iffy on. I think all he thinks are real citizens are ones that are naturalized, which I guess, I mean, his wife, I guess, would be a citizen. He's not, I think, according to his rules.
This may all be a ploy to get her deported so he can get a 4th wife.
that might be, yeah. But there's a lot of interesting things. So the 14th Amendment, that was essentially due to the Dred Scott decision that the Supreme Court had, where Dred Scott, being a slave, said, I was a free man, now I'm in slavery, and sued the government for its freedom again. And they said, you're black, you're not a person, you're not a citizen, right? And so the government did a great thing. They went and decided, we're gonna make a law less than a decade later that said, if you're born here, you're a citizen, right? And then a bunch of states ratified that, but a bunch of states didn't ratify that. Those all happened to be on the Confederate side of a war that was a little dicey when it came.
I've heard of these people.
Yeah. I've
heard them come up a lot lately.
They liked the Dred Scott decision, I think. And so they said no. And here's the interesting thing. The US government said you have to ratify. They passed a law that said you have to ratify this amendment in order to get representation in Congress. We won't give you a representative until you do it.
To get back into the country.
Which is also kind of weird, right? Like that is also, I understand.
That's something they left out of history class.
Yeah, I understand why they had to strong arm them in, and I'm not saying that I'm not happy with the result, but that's also really weird and creepy to be like, let's all ratify this. You guys, you have to do it. Like, okay. So that happened. And then the other thing I found out that was interesting is Harry Reid, who's a pretty well-known Democrat, in the early 90s actually put up a bill to also reverse the birthright citizenship. I didn't know that. It was called the Immigration Stabilization Act. Now, he later went on to say that it was the worst mistake of his career, but it's interesting that on both sides of the aisle, we tried this. So
there are idiots everywhere.
Yeah, there are. In short, we're not saying who's right or wrong. We're saying everybody's idiots.
Yep.
Congratulations.
Everybody sucks.
So we're not going to give you the answer. We're just going to leave you with that bombshell, let you figure it out on your own. But fascinating. When you actually go into a problem and look into it, there's a lot of really interesting things about it that don't make it nearly as like black and white as you would think. So let's, in the meantime, hopefully President Trump will do the goat sacrifice he needs to be able to change the amendment with his presidential powers. That's another thing, by the way, Trump, if you're listening, there's a goat involved. And so super important. It's in there. Read the Constitution. You'll see it. There's a goat clause. But that's enough about that. I'm
actually, considering we found out that, Italy's somehow listening to our podcast, I'm terrified what's going to come from these sort of sarcastic comments. I mean, totally serious comments from you, Keith.
Yes, very serious. These are all founded and studied and factual with quotes around it. So,
yep.
Anyhow, so now that we've gotten kind of the current events, granted, we're always weeks behind, so it's not current events at this point, but our current events out of the way, we're going to dive into some more news. I don't know if you're ready for this, Phil. Okay. We know that you're a talented musician.
Okay.
We know that you are very good at picking out lines.
Okay.
Right? But we are going to make you the editor-in-chief of your own publication.
Ah, good.
You feel good about this?
Yeah. Control is a good thing.
Yeah. You can make a castle. And it's an editor-in-chief.
Put my own big, beautiful alligators, the largest ever.
Yeah.
In my moat.
Yeah, no, you'll have an editor-in-chief castle. And here's an interesting thing. You may not know this, but if you own your own publication, you can change the Constitution. It's a fact. Yep. It's a fact. You just have to print it and say, this is now in the Constitution, and it is. It's like Wikipedia. Yeah.
Well, I just watched the post, so I think it was about
Welcome to the latest episode of Lies with Another Wasted Hour.
So we went around the internet and found actual news stories, and we're going to pitch these to you to see if whether or not they make it into your publication or whether or not you consider them news.
Okay.
All right. So as is now tradition, we'll start off with the lovely engineer Adam. What do you have for us?
Aw, someone thinks I'm lovely.
Yeah, it's just me.
CDC urging people to stop using dead bats as Halloween decorations.
Dead bats.
Stop using dead bats.
But they're so good.
Yeah, I could see that on the sports page.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
It's a different bat. You do know that, right? This is the animal he's talking about.
Oh,
appreciate
you
the
know, we were
pun,
talking
though.
about the live ball era, dead bat era. Okay. Okay, well then.
Ooh, look at all the dead bats. They're
So
just wood.
apparently, so apparently, most bats are not protected by international wildlife treaties, so it makes them very easy to smuggle.
Sure.
And so people are. There's a picture here of a guy. He basically laminated a bat rather poorly.
Laminated?
Oh my God. This is getting darker and darker.
Yeah, it
Laminated?
doesn't look good.
No. Did he do
Doesn't
it while
even sound good.
Yeah, did he do it while he was alive? Jesus Christ.
I don't know. It's not very well laminated. It's like laminated and then stapled together because I guess he did a shit job on the lamination.
Jesus Christ.
Just to create a decoration to hang from a tree.
I guess from your house, so the tree's out front of your house or something.
Boy.
I can't decide if a dead bat or a laminated dead bat is more scary. I think I'm more horrified by a stapled laminated dead bat.
I don't understand why you just didn't go to the dollar store.
Right. You can get them made out of rubber. It's
Yeah.
super easy. You don't even have to laminate them.
They don't smell.
Yeah. Didn't the United States does not care about bats one bit, because they made, like, in World War II, they made like a bat bomb. I remember reading
I remember that.
somewhere.
Yeah.
Where they just took a bunch of bats, and if they're cold enough, they like sleep, right? And they put it in a bomb, put them all in a bomb, and they put tiny little bombs on them that were like incendiary devices. And then the idea was that they were going to go over Japan, drop this bomb. As it got lower in the atmosphere, it would like open up and there'd be trays of bats. And as it got warmer, the bats would like wake up and be like, what the hell am I doing in here? And fly off.
So the first MX missile system.
Yeah. And then they would all like roost in like the attics of different buildings. A lot of buildings in Japan at the time were made out of wood. They would all catch fire because they have tiny bombs on them, which is just horrifying. Now that we think about like animal rights, we're like, no, it's fine. We're just putting tiny bombs on all the bats. And, like,
I think they were doing the same thing with rats as well.
were they?
Yeah.
Jeez. We were bastards back
Oh,
then.
We're also putting pigeons as the first homing bombs.
Yeah.
So.
So,
But they all came back.
Is it okay to use dead pigeons for Halloween? Do we have any word on that?
No word, yes, so I'll say okay because they're a pretty trash bird anyways.
So I would say, as long as you can give me 2 full pages on it, we'll include that.
We'll
one.
get that. It's news. All right. Nicely
All right.
done. All right. Let's see what I've got for you. This one might fall a little flat because it's going to require some knowledge of the current music scene. So, Phil, I don't know how keen you are with rap, but
Okay.
let's take a soiree into some rap battles that are happening. Do you know a rapper named 50 Cent or
Yes.
50 Cent?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know a rapper named Ja Rule?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay. We're most of the way there.
Yeah.
They don't like each other,
Okay.
right? So,
I think I just saw Ja Rule the other day on Ridiculousness.
nice. Okay. So here's the headline. 50 Cent buys 200 front row tickets to Ja Rule gig so that they will be empty. How badass is that? That's taking revenge and trolling to a new level. Yeah. He saw a Ja Rule concert. He bought 200 front row tickets so that when he goes out to do the concert, they'll just be empty seats in front of him.
Well, I think that'll backfire on them because A, the tickets have already been paid for, and
Yeah.
B, they would just let people move up, which they were bound to do anyway.
So and here's
So I think
So if
I
he had
think
kept
Ja
it a
Rule.
secret.
So
Yeah.
I think Ja Rule wins this one.
you think so? All right.
Yeah. And
Yeah, because if he had kept it a secret and be like, wow, what the heck happened? He would probably have something. But because now he knows that 50 Cent's like, I still got his money anyways.
Yeah.
Just like Phil said.
yeah.
Here's the thing I found interesting about it. All right. The reason that he was able to afford it is he found a Groupon. Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Hang with me.
Why would he need I think 50 Cent has plenty of money.
I think he just declared bankruptcy like a couple of years ago. So anyhow, he found a Groupon, which I assume he was on Groupon for food or something. And he found a Groupon for the Ja Rule concert, right? Tickets, front row tickets, $15 a piece. He only spent $3,000 to pull this off, which is kind of
Okay,
badass.
so you have to wonder why were Ja Rule front row tickets
$15
available on Groupon at all?
at all, and then $15. Yeah, no, that's remarkable. Because here's the thing: I would probably spend $3,000 if I knew that I could like ruin Justin Bieber's like ego with that money. Like if I could just knock him down a peg by buying $3,000 worth of tickets, I might do that just to let him know, like, hey, you should probably not be so cocky. But all right, so is it news?
Only if there's a sidebar on Groupon.
Just well, that's true. We could leverage this for Groupon for advertising. Get
Yeah.
them to advertise. Yeah, so I think there's a real opportunity
Yeah,
there.
so yeah, we'll slip it in there.
All right, excellent.
Well, speaking of slipping it in there,
Oh no, I
Antarctica
knew I was
science-
in trouble.
Left it wide
Antarctica
open.
scientist allegedly stabs colleague for spoiling the endings of books.
Oh, I saw that story on Colbert
Yeah?
last night or the night before, and he sided with the stabber. He said,
I would too.
Yeah? You think
I-
that's right?
he said, "Oh, Dumbledore died, huh?"
How old were the books? That's my question.
Well, that's a good point.
because if it's like, hey, at the end, everything burns and gone with the wind, I'd be like, seriously, you've had a lot of time.
Yeah,
Like,
I agree with that.
you know, if you're like Rosebud is a sled, then I'm gonna be like, yeah, you had an entire lifetime to catch up on that.
Of course,
one.
that is victim shaming.
That's in this case, I'm okay with it.
Okay, well, I think I feel like I'm being too easy, but yeah, there's something. I mean, it's just a little blurb, so it would be just a filler.
Yeah.
Well, also what's interesting is it's apparently the first ever crime committed on Antarctica.
Oh, really?
Yeah. At least according, not the article I have in front of me, but I remember a different article that just didn't have as good of a headline. Talked about how this is the first reported crime on the continent of Antarctica.
Huh? There was a movie a few years back where I don't remember what branch of what law enforcement agency she was part of, but she had to solve some murder that occurred down on in Antarctica.
So now we know that wasn't true. That was all fiction.
Yeah.
How did it end?
I don't remember.
I almost tricked you.
I think she got the girl.
And stab him! Stab! That's really relieving, actually, because that means that all of the time that Antarctica has been there and there have been humans on Antarctica, nobody has tried to fuck a penguin, which I really appreciate.
That
right?
may not be a crime.
I think it is. I think it's probably, I don't know how enforceable it is, but
It's outside everybody else's jurisdiction.
so yeah. All right. So you say that's in.
Yeah, but just a little piece.
What I'd like to do is I'd like to start a new trend where instead of, you know, how we do all the spoiler alerts and things like that, I'd like us to like let people know about spoilers, but we just make up new ones.
Fake spoilers?
Yeah. And everybody, like, we all get on board with it. Right.
Oh.
And so people are
then
like,
they're going to be really pissed off when they get to the end and, wait a minute.
this isn't what happened. They said it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it's not spoiled. Right. I think that's.
Well, you know, they kind of do that sometimes in the, The Natural.
That's true.
The ending in the movie is different than the ending in the book.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, that's right. That's true. That one's different. Batman versus Superman, that movie, in the trailer, it looked good. So that was a surprise. Yeah.
Not so
Didn't
much.
expect that when it came out and was terrible. All right. So that's in. Let's see what I've got. Let's see a move in here. And I got, so far we're doing good. We're 1,000%. Or batting 1,000. It's 100%. It's batting 1,000. Yeah. We'll get it. There's ratios.
I was gonna let you get away with it, but go ahead and shame yourself a little bit further, Keith.
Yeah, no. 1,000%. That's how good we are. So here we go. We're gonna make you a city planner. I want to ask you a question and see bounce this idea off you and see what you would react to it. So in LA, prostitution is a problem. It's a growing problem.
That there's not enough, or
yeah, not enough to go around. No, with human trafficking and everything, it's something that they're trying to crack down on because I think prostitution with willing, participants, not a huge deal. But as soon as you bring in people who are taking advantage of those folks, which happens a lot because it's an illegal trade and stuff. So it's a big problem, especially along Western Avenue in Los Angeles. There were 707 arrests in 2012 alone.
Okay.
Right. In fact, more recently,
in 2012.
Yeah, and more recently than that, they were able to arrest nearly a half dozen Johns in one night on one street corner. So this happens quite a bit in this stretch of LA. So what do you?
I'm surprised that there are many people named John.
Yeah, I was going to say they need to change their names.
Yeah. So oh no, I read it wrong. Fucker. That was his name. That's the less polite way of saying it. So, what do you think as a city planner? What would you do? What do you think they did to try and crack down on prostitution?
I think that they probably put a lot of very bright lights.
Yeah, that would make sense.
And a lot of police.
Undercover sting operations, maybe. Lighting, maybe more patrols, things like that. No. LA is trying to fix its prostitution problem by banning right turns. Yep. They have put up signs that say right turns are illegal at night.
Because you talk to the hooker at the corner and you go around
turn
the
left,
corner.
Apparently.
No, because she's standing on the corner and you follow around the corner to keep the conversation going.
Yeah. So
that might just be crazy enough to work.
That's the thing. The weird part is, although enforcement hasn't slowed down, 2017 was the lowest year for prostitution-related arrests in nearly a decade. So it actually might be working if you just ban right turns.
Wow.
How strange is that?
I wonder how many of the UPS trucks are involved in this because they're not allowed to make left turns.
Right. So they're just getting pulled over all the time.
See, what I want to do is I want to rewind the conversation just a little bit to the real story of how Phil knew so much about why the right turn might be, picking up a hooker etiquette, not following her around the corner.
There used to be a show on HBO called The Point, and it was a documentary about hookers in this one section of Manhattan.
Okay.
And so you could see what the guys did.
Oh,
they're talking to the hookers, and they pulled around the corner.
So you knew a guy once.
Yeah.
All right.
And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
That seems fair. That's totally good. So is it news?
I don't know. I think we'll let that one slip.
Really? All right. Okay. I've lost the first one. Adam.
All right, so we're starting to run out of time here, so we're just going to go into a lightning round. We're going to throw some headlines at you.
Okay.
If you have questions, we'll try to answer them, but we're going to keep it quick.
Okay.
Yep.
Bare buns. Half-naked woman falls through cookout ceiling.
Yes. Front page.
There was no hesitation. He was like, yes, we're going to print that twice.
And anyone who's ever been to a cookout can see it happening.
Yeah,
absolutely.
No, absolutely.
I love cookouts so much, but no, I can see this happening. It doesn't have the dignity of a Waffle House.
Oh, that's saying something.
That is, yeah. All right. Huge floating dry dock holding Russia's only aircraft carrier has accidentally sunk.
Yeah, I would include that.
Yeah?
I would definitely include that.
That seems, I didn't even check to see if the actual aircraft carrier then sunk. I assume it did because it was in dry dock, I guess getting repairs. So if the dry dock sinks, then the ship sinks, right?
Unless it was strapped to it or something like that. I don't know dry dock physics.
Yeah, I don't know either, but yeah, apparently
I'm just going to imagine it's something akin to Kerbal Space Program and everything just exploded.
Yeah.
So.
All right, so that's in?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Drunk baggage handler falls asleep in hold, flies to Chicago.
No, I've heard a bunch of stories like that. I don't think I would put that one in.
I like that because it's just instant karma, right? Because you can't then go to your boss and be like, I wasn't sleeping. Well, how did you end
I
up in
wasn't sleeping.
Chicago?
I was drunk.
Yeah. There's only a handful of reasons.
And I've announced I'm drunk, so now you have to put me in an IEP, and you can't fire me.
Yeah, I think there's only a handful of reasons you could end up in the belly of a plane and in Chicago, and none of them are I was just doing my job as told. So,
Fred told me to sit there and wait.
How do you even like you call in? You're like, hey, I'm gonna be a little late from my shift. Why? I'm in Chicago, and
And the next plane back is 2 hours from now.
right. And I have to take a nap to get into it. So
In the guy's defense, apparently the part of the hold he ended up in was both heated and pressurized. So
That's
he was
nice.
drunk, he was cold, he found a nice warm place to take a nap.
oh,
and then woke up in Chicago. Like that hasn't happened to you.
Uh-huh.
that's true. Nope, I've never been to Chicago. But when I was drunk and tired, someone held me once. So that's kind of similar, right? I don't know. So is it news? You said no?
No,
not news.
not
All
that
right.
one.
Last but not least,
All right, Keith, for the tie.
for the tie, Iowa pastor preaches from bulletproof pulpit he calls the Sermonator.
Oh, God.
That's got to be a porn parody.
It's not a porn parody.
How does he spell sermon? Without the R?
There's no P. I see where you're going with this, but that's not how it is.
I guess given what's been going on, I would have to include that as news.
Yeah, it does. It seems like an innovation. That's for sure. I hope next innovation is that he also has rocket propelled grenades. Right, that he can fire back. Just it like a 50 cal just comes up from behind and like tracks the person with the gun. They're like tap 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 tap, and you're like, nice, well done. Jesus works in mysterious
It
ways.
sounds like that conference room scene in RoboCop.
Yeah, that's what we need. That was such a weird thing. I mean, we obviously in the news also we had this all the shootings that have happened and things like that, and it is weird because we're getting advice that like they should have armed guards, but then they shot police. So I'm not sure like how better the armed guard is
Yeah,
going to be.
they seem
than
to be
the SWAT
missing
team.
that fact.
Yeah, like if you have a SWAT team and the guy is able to like get one over on them, I feel like the one dude who happens to be like half asleep watching the door,
Who's getting paid minimum wage.
yeah, is probably not going to like manhandle that guy down. But I don't know. I obviously don't know the training that the rent-a-cops get when they're protecting synagogues, but other people apparently do.
Oh.
What? What did
Nothing.
What?
Don't worry about it.
Oh, all right. So anyhow, I will, so I think that you said that makes it in. So that means we're
Yes.
tied.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're tied up.
All we have left is we need a name for this new publication.
Oh, boy. I think we'll have to go with it fits, so let's print it.
For out of all of the names of all of our publications, I think that's the most honest.
That was an accident.
It's just like, it's a thing. Let's shove it in there. All right, so it fits. So let's print it. That is going to be at newsstands near you if you can find a newsstand. How do you think you did? Do you feel like you did well as a?
Yeah, I think so. We probably got about 8 pages worth of stuff there.
Did you get power hungry now that you were in control?
Oh, well, yeah, I would have sent out a whole team to get more details on some of those stories.
Just like with helicopters.
Yeah, I mean, I could have been talked into reversing my decision on the hooker story if I got the additional right
A
details.
hooker?
Yeah.
All right.
Studiously silent.
Right. I mean, you have to do research. I'm just saying. We're not talking about one of like the illegal ones that's being taken advantage of or is right now in human traffic. A perfectly legal hooker.
The Julia Roberts version.
Right. That would be a weird hook. Hello. Would you like a blowjob?
Not
no.
Julia Childs.
Oh, that's a different one. That one's way more exciting now, I think.
I like
now,
Keith's version
now
better.
we know what's going on in his head.
I'm hungry. That's what it is. I'm like, no, I'm good. Can you make me some pastries? That would be awesome. Thank you. All right. So let's move on to what I think is the most important piece of news. We have the world premiere of a brand new track called Flannel, Sheets, and Whiskey from Phil Selz.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about this track. Where did you record this at?
There's a school, the Art Institute of Washington.
Yeah.
And they have a campus in Arlington.
Okay.
And somebody, I think it was on the DMV musicians site, advertised that he was looking for someone because he needed to do a project for his classes.
Okay, so yeah, that's
so
pretty common if you're taking like classes as a recording engineer. Adam, you took classes being a recording engineer. Did you have to do this?
A lot of times I'd be hitting up friends like, hey, can we record like a track? You know, get to get them in the studio for free, but you just got to deal with me as your engineer.
And that's the way it worked out. And I was his cowboy musician.
Nice. Excellent. I feel like if I had to do that...
I feel like that was a euphemism for something.
We're going to have to ban
it was reverse racial profiling.
I feel like if I had to do that for school, because I'm giving away studio time and they have to come and be there, I would just like end up being the biggest prima donna. I'd be like, nope, do it again. Dude, that wasn't acceptable. No, one more time. Do you call yourself a musician? For God's sakes, get it together, man.
I usually end up the opposite way, just doing whatever I could. Like that's how I had this one group come in that I was supposed to record one song and end up being in the studio all day and did an entire album in a day. Good album. Turned out really nice.
I wasn't happy with the phrasing I had on one part, and we'd stop and I'd do it again and stop and do it again.
Yeah.
And he was actually suggesting that I change the words.
Oh, wow.
And I said, no, this is the way I wrote it. This is the way I want to sing. I'll get the phrasing right.
Yeah.
So I didn't let him take over too much.
Was it because he was suggesting it like to change the words entirely? He was like,
no,
change that to peacocks.
Yeah,
and you're
no. I think
what?
he was just taking a the out.
Yeah.
But it didn't fit right for me.
Sure. Yeah, no, that makes sense. So, very cool. So tell us a little bit what's Flannel, Sheets, and Whiskey about. It seems pretty self-explanatory.
Well, I'd like to hear not having heard it, what is your interpretation of the title?
I can't do that if I haven't heard it.
Well, you said it was pretty self-explanatory.
Oh, yeah. So I think it's about... I have a feeling it might be about flannel sheets and whiskey.
Oh, okay. Well, that would be very self-explanatory. I have a son and a daughter-in-law and 2 granddaughters who live out in Lincoln, Nebraska. And, they're just your typical young couple with kids.
Yeah.
She works as a manager at a PetSmart, and he's got a job as a writer for a fantasy sports website. And in addition to that, he does things like delivers pizzas for Domino's. But the upside is he gets to stay home during the day with the girls, so they're not using money for daycare, and he spends a lot of time with his daughters and so forth. But they're just your typical couple.
Sure.
And so they were at Walmart one night, buying some jeans and some stuff for the kids, whatever they were doing.
Right.
And his wife went off in a different direction and caught up with him at the checkout counter. And she had in one hand a package of flannel sheets.
Okay.
And in the other hand, a bottle of whiskey.
Party night.
And she said, "What do you think, hon?" And he said, "Looks like a plan to me." And so when they got home, he called me up. He said, "Dad, I've got a song title for you." And I said, "Well, okay, that sounds like a great idea. I can go one of 2 ways with it. I can come up with something kind of honky-tonk.
Yeah.
Or I can do something a little more romantic."
Sure.
And I said, "I'll see what I come up with." And I went with the romantic route.
Oh, we should have kept it a secret until we played it, right? I like that he was like, his wife is like, "Hey, how about some whiskey and some flannel sheets?" And he was like, "Yeah, I'm going to tell my dad about this." All right, so let's play a sample here from Phil Selz and his track Flannel Sheets and Whiskey. If you want to hear the entire track, just fast forward to the 1 hour mark of this show and you can listen. But in the meantime, here we go.
Yeah, I know it's hard, my darling, running things all by yourself, taking care of our 2 babies all alone, and putting in your hours, stocking groceries on the shelf, always wondering when I'll finally make it home. When I come in through that door, the world just melts away, and you wrap your arms around me and hold me tight.
So you're saying that's not Honky Tonk?
No. That's the romantic version.
There's a singer-songwriter thing there. I was gonna say, I don't know who it is that I'm trying to like attach that to. It's like maybe like Cat Stevens, or
I get a lot. Cat Stevens and
who does a Cat's Cradle? Do you know that one?
Harry Chapin.
Harry Chapin. Somewhere in there is
Yeah.
where I'm feeling like it lands.
Yeah, and
it's not
also,
super country or anything. It's got that
no,
kind of like that
folk
60s, 70s like
yeah, exactly.
singer-songwriter thing.
Yep.
And it's pretty like traditional singer-songwriter rather than kind of what modern would sound like, right? It has that, it harkens back to that. It's interesting because I think the production on this, even though you may have been able to do it only in a day, I think it actually fits that really well. Like it sounds kind of very like intimate and raw, and like you're listening into somebody in a room playing this, right? It's not overproduced. It's not
that, and that was really what I was hoping to get.
Yeah.
If you're sitting in a club listening to me,
it doesn't even feel like a club. It feels like, you know, a living room, right? It feels really intimate to me.
like a house concert.
Yeah. What do you think?
And playing on a 33 1/3.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Well, at least he didn't say a 78.
So that's very cool. If you want to see Phil, are you going to be playing this live up at the winery?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I those shows are mostly covers,
Sure.
but I always slip in about a half dozen of my originals.
Perfect. And
Because it's a 4-hour set. So.
This will be one of those, I assume.
Oh, absolutely.
So Sunday, November 18th at Paradise Springs up in Clifton, Virginia. You can go listen to Flannel Sheets and Whiskey live in person. So it'll actually sound like he's in the room playing for you, because he'll be in the room playing for you.
Exactly.
Which is brilliant. If you want to hear more music from Phil Selz, go up to reverbnation.com/Phil Selz. That is PHIL, Phil. That's pretty easy. Selz is a little trickier. SELZ.
Yes.
So make sure that you spell
Been
that right.
misspelled at least 18 different ways.
So yeah, go up and check that out. And will other shows be up there as well as your whole schedule?
Yeah, my schedule, I keep it up to date on Reverb Nation. I'll be at Odd Shabine in Fairfax on January 25th.
Okay.
And there's other shows that'll get filled in as I get them.
Brilliant. Okay, so go check that out for his full list of shows. Thank you very much for sharing that with us and letting us do the world broadcast premiere of Flannel Sheets and Whiskey. So now that we've gotten that out of the way, which is the most important part, we're going to move on to the most idiotic part of our show. This is our trivia contest that we call Please God Just Get One Right.
Speaking of raw, intimate arrangements.
Yeah.
So our last guests, Reluctant Zero, we had Matt and DJ here in studio. They have a new album that just came out on Friday, October 26th. If you listen to our last show, She Smells of Autumn, they shared that with us. But you can go up onto any streaming service, go check out Reluctant Zero and hear their brand new album called Brace. They picked a category for you. Are you ready to hear what your category is?
Sure.
This was very unique to me. I was not aware of this at all. They chose the category of selfie deaths.
Okay.
Do you know what that is?
Yes.
Yeah, you're familiar with
I'm
this.
familiar with it.
I didn't even know.
I think they're all idiots, but
Obviously, as soon as they said it, I was like, no, well, of course, there's idiots out there, and then they have cell phones. So, of course, there are cell phones that take pictures of idiots dying. So that's what it is. It is people who took selfies of themselves either dying or on just about to die.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to get a little dark, folks, as we move in to Please God Just Get One Right. Keep in mind, no matter how many you do get right, you will need to select a category at the end of this for the next guest on the show. All right. So, Adam, without further ado.
Pay the revenge forward.
Yes, exactly. So take it off.
According to a study published by the Journal of Family Medicine and Primary Care, 259 people had died taking selfies between October 2011 and November 2017. The report, based on findings from researchers in India who scoured worldwide media reports, said the main cause of selfie deaths was drowning, usually involving people being washed away by waves or falling from a boat. What was the second most common cause of selfie death?
Falling off a cliff.
Good guess. No, I was pretty surprised by this one. And I was going through the list and I was like, again? You think you would learn, but nope.
No.
Adam, what is it?
The second most common is posing in front of a moving train.
I actually had heard that.
Yeah.
My brain is slipping.
I know that this is not going to be a popular opinion. I have very little respect for anyone who is hit by a train. Like,
yeah, they're not.
I think we've talked about this on a
moving
previous
500
podcast.
miles an hour.
Like, you know where it's going, just don't be there. This doesn't count like if a train like derails and jumps the rails and comes after you or something like that, or like you happen to be on a train and you're hit by another train or something like that. No,
or it's a train named Christine.
Right. But if you are somehow on train tracks and then you get hit by a train, I'm like, I mean, you knew that was coming, right? Like,
Darwin Award winner.
That's why they're called train tracks, because trains go on them. If you don't want to get by hit, all you have to do is step like 6 feet that way, like
Not
either
even that.
direction.
Yeah, I was going to say like 2 feet maybe.
Yeah. As long as you don't go back, right, or forward. If you go left or right, you're good.
Yeah.
But I assume there's just people that are like, there's a train coming, run! And then they run the direction the train's, like coming after them.
Keith, Hollywood has taught us that whenever something's falling towards you, you run in the direction it's falling.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
yeah.
There's never a 90-degree
Whenever
in a movie.
They also do it with cars, right? People are like, oh, the car like stalled on the tracks and then somebody was struck by it and killed. And I want to be like, just get out of that car. I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't understand this. I could probably be drunk and avoid a train, I feel like. Because like there's not a lot of rules you got to remember, right? Like,
well, we can put that to test on a future episode, Keith.
right.
Another Wasted Hour live from the closest railroad crossing,
or what we like to call the finale. So, all right. So you did not get that one right. So we'll try the next one here. In a study of selfie deaths since October 2011, the casualties were broke down into many categories. In the animal category, what animal was far and away the most deadly selfie partner? So if you're posing with this animal, you are more likely to die than all other animals.
Oh boy. I'm going to go with a horse.
Ooh, good guess. But horses
good
are
choice.
pretty friendly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so actually
a little skittish if the flash goes off. But
that's true. Yeah, I could see that. It would be like you could see a horse being like, I look terrible in that, and then just killing you, right? Because but no, elephant.
Okay.
Which begs
I was going
the
to go with
question.
hippopotamus.
That would have been a really good one too, because
Yeah.
they're pretty dangerous. But I assume people probably get out to take a picture of the with the hippopotamus, and other people are like, "Do not do that. That is going to just be suicide." Where elephants, I guess they're like, "Oh, it's Dumbo. Look at that. Oh, it's Dumbo.
Yeah, guess
stomping
who's
on you.
Dumbo now?
Oh, God. Oh, you're You're looking like a laminated bat."
Segway.
Yeah. So elephant. All right, Adam. What's your next one?
in July 2015, a UK man was killed taking a selfie while hiking through the Brecon Beacons National Park in Wales. What was it that killed him?
This is pretty brilliant.
It was pretty big news apparently at the time it happened.
Yeah.
Not that
Which
long
I
ago.
admit was like 3 years
if you're
ago.
in the UK.
I'm going to say it was the bog.
Oh, I gave you kind of a hint
Yeah.
because I think it's a brilliant story, and part of the reason it's brilliant is why, Adam.
He was killed when lightning struck his selfie stick.
So he's in a
Wow.
storm holding a selfie stick up and gets struck by lightning. Surprise! You're not a park ranger, are you? All right. So unfortunately, you did not get that one.
So I'm 0 for 3.
Yeah, we're about halfway through,
Yeah, okay.
so fingers crossed. In October of 2015, a 68-year-old Belgian woman was visiting a geyser field located within the Andes Mountains of northern Chile. While attempting to take a selfie in front of an active geyser, she stepped backwards and fell into the scalding hot water. Her husband pulled her out, but she died in the hospital days later from burns over 85% of her body. Can you name the fateful geyser?
No. Let's be succinct.
Yes, correct. That is the right answer. No, you cannot name it.
Hey, at least he was quick and forward about it, unlike the people that would just still be hemming and hawing about it 5 minutes from now.
El Tatio. That's the name of it. No, nobody knows where it is. As far as I know, it's made up.
Okay.
All right, Adam.
In 2014, a man was gored to death by a bull when he left the protected area and tried to take a selfie in front of the annual running of the bulls. At the time of his death, how many people had been killed by this annual event?
So total out of the history of it. Or of
as
that
of in
particular
2014.
One.
In that 1 year?
Yeah, I couldn't find any stats from later than that, so I just found this one article about this one. It
so
said his death was the ex-death.
Yeah. Through 2014, how many people had died
in the history of the running of the bulls?
Or at least recorded to die.
I'll say
there's some people we don't care about.
214.
I would have guessed high like that too, because I always heard everything was like, oh, it's scary.
You're gonna tell me 5?
I thought they just always kept running until everyone died. But no, 16.
That's all.
Yeah. Maybe I'll
surprisingly low number.
Right. Far more people died of stupidity. All right. Last but not least, in what year was the word selfie added to the Oxford English Dictionary and given Australian attribution? It was also the year that the selfie was declared the word of the year.
I'm going to say 2013.
That's it.
Yes,
you got it. Nice. Pulled it out at the end.
Pulled it out at the end.
All right. I'm gonna grab you the sack of joy that you get to reach into for a prize. Yeah, I know. It's better than it sounds. In the meantime,
it has to be better than it sounds.
I need you to think of a category for your next victim. Our next guest.
Okay. Yeah, it's your next victim.
Yes. All right. Here's the sack of happiness. Just reach. You need to close your eyes because I didn't wrap anything.
Okay.
And just.
It's supposed to feel warm.
That's okay. Don't worry about it. All right. What did you get?
Anime Eyes luggage tag.
There you go.
What?
That's. Yeah.
Can you see it?
That totally fits your type of music.
You've got to use that next time you go out on
my
travel.
daughter is going to steal it from me.
Yeah, definitely. If you ever get stuck in the belly of a plane going to Chicago, you're going to wish you had those. All right, what is the category for next week's guest?
Okay, let me see. I think we'll take off on that we'll riff on that airline story.
Okay.
And we'll go with things left behind in baggage claim.
Okay.
All right. I'm typing. You have to say something, Adam, so it's not boring. Jesus Christ, people.
I just lob jokes in. I
can't do two things at once.
I think that should be a good category.
Yeah, no, that'll be good. So next week, things left behind at baggage claim. We'll see what we turn up, and our next guest will have to guess that. All right. So excellent. Good. You won.
Yeah.
Look at that. That doesn't happen every week.
No.
You've got a really terrible gift, and you're going to give it away to someone else.
I swear to God, my daughter, and she lives out in the Denver area.
Okay.
And she picked that location in part because of Colorado laws, but the other part is because she wants to do a lot of traveling.
Yeah.
And Denver's a great jumping off point. So she went for 3 weeks to Malaysia and Singapore.
Oh, wow. Okay. So she travels.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
By herself for 3 weeks.
Excellent. All right. So without further ado, let's move on to near and far.
Okay.
So we're going to find out a little bit more about you as an artist. Yep, far.
Okay.
That's what it's all
That's what it's all about.
Yep.
You understand. So we've got two stories, one that's near and one that's far.
Okay.
Either one that you want to make sure you get to?
No, I can get to.
All right, let's start
Each
with
of them
near because I heard some about this. So the near story here in the area, you had a story about hiccups.
Yes.
All right. So what was that?
It's near in terms of location, and
Sure.
it's near in terms of time because it happened last night.
Nice.
And a week ago.
And it's
is
close
when it
to our
started.
hearts, or
Yes.
maybe ladies' hearts.
Well, yes. I wrote a song 30 years ago. I had a title for a song.
Okay.
And maybe 40 years ago. But I didn't play
When you were-
instruments and I didn't write music yet.
Yeah.
And
Because you were 8.
no,
I'm trying to be nice. Just
Yeah,
go with
I know. But in any case, I started playing about a dozen years ago.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, now I can try to write a song to that title. And I tried and it was miserable. It was horrible. And then one morning about 2 years ago, I wrote the entire song in about 30 minutes.
Sometimes that happens.
It
You have
just
a
happens. It's got 6 verses. It's got 2 bridges. It's got a harmonica break. It's got a chorus. It's the only thing I've ever written that takes 2 full pages.
Wow. And it just hit you like
and I don't
lightning
think
to a
I-
selfie stick.
And I don't think I exactly. I don't think I edited 5 words in the entire song once I wrote it down.
So it's either really good
And
or really bad. One of the two.
So the title of the song is her D-cups gave me hiccups, which all apologies to David Allan Coe. I think that is the perfect country western song title. And I came up with this song and it was really funny, I thought. And so I play it and, I play at Potbelly restaurants at
Sure.
lunchtimes. And occasionally, if there's no kids in the restaurant, I will play that song.
Okay.
And nobody's ever complained about it. And so last week I was playing at a SAW Songwriters of Association of Washington event at a local place.
Okay.
And the owner heard me singing that song and tried to have the guy who's running the show cut off the PA system and keep me from playing it.
They thought it was
'cause
offensive.
She thought it was offensive and sexist and all this. And he was running another event at the same place last night for Halloween, and she told him he couldn't have the show there because
Of the
she
previous show.
couldn't feel comfortable that the other comedy stuff that was going to be played at that show wouldn't be as bad or worse. So they
Well,
moved.
I got good news for you, Phil, and that
Yeah.
is I do know for a fact that if anyone tells you that something is offensive, it now is.
Yes.
That's how things work. I've learned this.
And even if they don't.
Yeah.
But so in any case, so
Everything
he
is
wound up
offensive.
having to move his event last night to another restaurant. And
Wow. Okay.
And that was all because of me. And so he said, I hope you can come to the show because whether you're there or not, you're the star of the show. and so I got there and I played it and the people were very appreciative and lots of applause and they laughed at all the right places and it was great. It was a lot of fun.
That's funny.
So I felt validated. I
Right.
guess.
Ah.
And then the other story is my far story. I talked about my son and daughter-in-law and their kids.
Yeah.
And my 4.5-year-old granddaughter has a toy guitar. It's more like a ukulele.
Oh, okay.
And
yeah. I've seen those.
she will say, "Paw, get out your guitar," and we will do these duets on
Yeah.
Skype.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's fabulous.
Oh, that's really cool.
She makes up songs start to finish.
And how old is she?
She's 4.5, and
Oh,
she
wow.
loves her sister, and she loves her mom and dad, and she has so much fun.
Yeah.
And
They're not good.
And
There's
those
no
are the
way.
words.
Those are not good songs, just so you know. No.
No, they're not good for recording, but they're great for memories.
That sounds awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Phil. Did you have a good time?
I had a great time.
Excellent. Very cool. Well, everybody, once again, Phil Selz is here. That's Selz. He's going to be up at Paradise Springs in Clifton, Virginia on Sunday, November 18th. He had that new song, Flannel Sheets and Whiskey, that'll be coming up right after this outro. Go up to reverbnation.com/Phil Selz to find out more music and shows that are coming and everything like that. Thank you so much for coming. Please like our posts, follow us, retweet us, and share the show on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We cannot do this without you. Don't forget to review us on Facebook, iTunes, and Google Play. If you're an artist, musician, or culture creator in the DC area and you want to be on our show, email us at booking@anotherwastedhour.com. Thanks to my summer co-hosts, Engineer Adam, Kevin Eminger, McNally22, Justin Rogers, Big Metal Records, Big Metal Studios, and Alchemical Records for all their contributions. Most of all, thanks for Phil Selz for wasting a perfectly good hour with us. This has been Another Wasted Hour, and if you just realized that, don't blame us. We warned you.
It's another sloppy Friday, cold rain's just oozing down, and I'm just thinking about you as I drive. The week's been pretty crazy, but I'm headed back to town, to the only place I know that I'm alive. Yeah, I know it's hard, my darling, running things all by yourself, taking care of our two babies all alone, and putting in your hours, stocking groceries on the shelf, always wondering when I'll finally make it home. When I come in through that door, the world just melts away, and you wrap your arms around me and hold me tight. The girls are fast asleep, but I kiss them anyway. Then it's flannel sheets and whiskey for the night. Saturday's just as crazy, you head back to the store. I take the girls to dance, ballet, and the pool. We stop by at your break room, family picnic on the floor, then an afternoon of soccer at the school. This time it's you who comes home with the girls all tucked away, and I wrap my arms around you and hold you tight for a few precious hours at the end of another day. It's flannel sheets and whiskey for the night. It seems there's no time just for us in every busy day, and it seems like the money's always tight. We've found a secret to make the world melt away. It's flannel sheets and whiskey for the night. Yeah, seems there's no time just for us in every busy day, and it seems like the money's always tight. We found a secret to make the world melt away. It's flannel sheets and whiskey for the night. Yeah, it's flannel sheets and whiskey for the night.